NieR Automata 1.1a is finally back with part 2, and I could not be more excited. For those that don't know, I covered part 1 from a perspective of somebody that has never played the video games, which was a lot of fun. A lot of people enjoyed my perspective of a anime only, technically. But it was a lot of fun because you had things like, yes, the Resistance. I thought that they were humans for the longest time until everybody's like, hey, dude, they're not humans, they're androids. There's a lot of these little things that I think all the people that play the game just knew already, which the show itself wasn't telling me because I'm sure the show just assumes you play the game. But yes, it was fun trying to understand the story that Yoko Taro just loves putting together that is always so kind of bizarre. And yes, when we ended part 1, I was blown away. Like, I thought the ending of part 1 was just kind of like this, what are we doing here? Like, a lot of my theories were technically being confirmed, but at the same time, question mark around them. And yes, already with the first episode of part 2, yes, a lot of my theories are already going down the tube. But, they could still happen. Yes, one of my big theories that I had from part 1 was that, yes, they revealed the fact that the Counts of Humanity sent essentially empty cargo up to where they were supposed to be hiding away at. And my theory there is that, yes, obviously humanity's already gone. They do have at least DNA up there. And it seems like there's an AI system or robotic system that's actually functioning everything. And they're just trying to manipulate the machine life forms and the androids to essentially create something. Like, they were trying to create a god. And I had theories around 9S possibly being that god they're trying to create. This being from these androids that's going to keep evolving to the point where it becomes something. And I really do question if they ever do actually want to recreate humanity. Like there is a theory here that just trying to puppeteer the people, or at least the androids, until something happens, while never really doing anything with the actual humanity that's still up there. And yes, like I said, a lot of my theory was around 9S, because why were they revealing so much information to 9S when they were just going to get rid of him for breaching the entire database? Well, episode 1 of the new part literally just has them kill 9S. Yes, the big reveal that 2B is actually 2E, which at first when I seen that, I'm like, well, is it a execution type that is being changed to look like 2B to gain the trust of 9S and then execute him for data breaching? Or is it 2B was repurposed to be 2E? Or was 2B always 2E? Based on confirmation from the gamers, yes, it seems like, yes, she was always 2E, which I think is really, really fascinating and does technically make a lot of sense. Every time we see 2B fighting, it seems like she's much more advanced than any of these other Yoras. And additionally, when she's fighting other Yoras, like A2, I think it was, she was really good at it. So yes, it does technically make sense that she is probably always been a Type E, which is a cooler reveal. That whole story, I felt like it was the whole thing around the Red Hood girl, which was a Type E. That whole story was just kind of way too fast, and I felt like it was just kind of this really quick story to throw in there just to introduce the concept of the Type E's. So I felt like that story itself was kind of dumb, but I think everything after that was kind of interesting. Just like all these little shots where like 9S was reaching out to 2B. I'm wondering if he kind of detected something, like something was off about 2B and he was reaching out for her. And then it cuts over to, yes, later on where 2B was about to strike, and then it cuts away again. It was like these little shots of like, what is going on? At the time, I was like, because of what happened with 2B, her raising her blade, right after 9S was raising his hand, I started to wonder if, yes, one, if 9S was picking up on something, or there was something happening to both of them after their encounter with the Type E, and it was messing with them. It was causing them to turn on each other, and thus they were hallucinating, and thus were attacking each other. But no, again, find out it's just 2B was 2E to take down 9S, which is kind of tragic after everything, and I kind of wished that there was a separate 2B that was 2E that they created to take down 9S, because the assumption there is that 2B really didn't want to do this. So it does seem like, despite the fact that she had this seemingly a connection with 9S, it didn't stop her. Like, she still followed through with what she was supposed to do. So yeah, either way you look at it, super tragic kind of setup there. And I'm assuming, based on how the next episode kind of follows up, unless that's another timeline there, I'm assuming that it's just kind of following it up where, yes, they recreate 9S. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier, that I thought this theory that 9S was going to be some sort of evolved being that they're trying to create. Yeah, there's a chance that even though they did destroy 9S, whatever information they had for him in the database that they're going to end up having to recreate or bring back into a new body, possibly can have that information that he figured out stored away purposely. Like they're purposely going to put that information that he got from the data breach and put it in the back of his head, and then later on it will just kind of pop back into him. Because again, why reveal all this stuff? But yeah, the second episode, yeah, things just kind of went crazy. At this point, we're pretty much just kind of rallying everybody up, sending everybody down, and at the same time having the Council of Humanity basically saying, yeah, go my puppeteers. Like, it literally was like, go my puppets, destroy each other. Which again, taking into consideration what they were doing with the machine life forms, and yes, technically sending the androids down there, they're just having them beat the crap out of each other. But the question mark is, why? What is the purpose of all this stuff? My theory is starting to go in the idea that they're wanting to get rid of all of it. Like, they've done plenty of testing. They've figured things out. Yes, go to my theory on 9S. Maybe 9S is exactly what they wanted. They already tested it. They figured it out. They did their testing with Adam and Eve. They figured that out. And now it's time to get rid of it all. This possibility that this AI could be wanting to be the only being, or possibly this AI is wanting to essentially wipe off everything, get rid of it all, and then send the humanity back down there. They want to essentially get rid of all the androids at this point, which doesn't really make sense because they could probably just deactivate them all, I'm guessing, but I guess not. But either way, it looks like they're just trying to create havoc, and I'm very curious as to what is the end game here. Again, is it to maybe push them even more, or is it to just make them destroy each other? That's the question mark. Because yes, based on what 9S does acknowledge, it does look like they opened the back door. Like they literally opened them up by using this whole data syncing system to open a back door for them to be able to get in there and thus destroy everything. You got butterflies flying around inside of the ship, people going nuts, viruses spreading everywhere. So obviously it seems like unless the machine life forms on their last leg, which again, they don't have Adam and Eve at this point, what would they even do? They don't have a network anymore. Unless one of the machine life forms still has this last push, or possibly some sort of semblance from 9S himself, what would have the capability of really pushing the machine life forms to be able to, one, know exactly where to meet up? Because yes, Adam and Eve's no longer there. They have no network. Braced backdoor for the data sync, which again, I would assume would have to be done by at least the commander, the technicians up there, or the Council of Humanity itself. Something is opening the door to everything. And then, yes, you have the two little witch girls that are walking around inside of the actual bunker. So all signs are pointing to the Council of Humanity, these weird, creepy girls. They're trying to, again, destroy everything. But, again, why? Again, super intriguing. I guess the only real route that we have to go at this moment is 9S, 2B, maybe even A2 getting involved to go AWOL and take on the Council of Humanity. Which, how they do that? Massive question mark. Anyhow, super cool stuff. I love actually seeing a lot of new Yoras that we've never seen before, even though they're all just stabbed each other. It's like I'm going, cool, all-out battles, seeing a bunch of cool-looking Yoras out of nowhere, and then they're just all just deleting each other. So it's like, well, okay, they were cool-looking. Like, they have this whole segment where they keep showing all the scouts, and they're just all thirsty for each other. Like, this has got to be a thing for the scouts. At this point, I'm assuming that the scouts themselves have more emotion, or at least more tap into emotion, or maybe because they work with other people more, they thus have the capability of developing emotions. Because, yeah, 9S is sitting there working with all of them, and they're all just like, yeah, she's patting my head, and yeah, I was working with this one, and they said they like me, or something like that. Like, what's with the scouts specifically? I guess it's more the fact that we've just never really seen anybody else besides 2B and 9S, and now some other scouts. So technically they can all be like this, but I'm just not seeing them. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, yes, there was that brief moment with the commander talking to the council, and it did technically imply there that the commander is picking up on why now. You've acknowledged the fact that the aliens are gone. Why wouldn't you report that? That would probably bolster everybody. Okay, now why now are you authorizing us to get all the weapons, the use of the laser, everything, which we know the answer to that, and that's the fact that it seems like they want them to just delete each other. But yeah, it is technically interesting. Why would you not confirm the fact that the aliens are extinct? You would think that would bolster them. Hey, the aliens are gone. We just need to finish these off. That would bolster them to go crazy. It could possibly be that they plan on resetting everything. That's a good point. The fact that they have not confirmed the aliens are gone with the actual androids and the resistance is because they plan to reset everything, and so they don't want to leave anything behind when they rebuild everything with the resistance and the androids, that it will get out the aliens are gone. Very interesting stuff there, though. It does make me kind of wonder if the council already knew. Now that I think about it, one thing does technically support the theory of reset is that, yes, when 2B was about to execute 9S, there was a 9S already down there. So, well, I mean, that could technically just mean that 2B as 2E has technically taken down 9S before. Like, this is something that she's had to execute him before. Like, he has stepped out of line before, which does technically lead into the tragedy of 2B having to have done that multiple times, which is like one of the things that was about the only thing that was kind of fascinating about the other Type E was that she was overcome with grief. Like, she has killed multiple times, and suddenly out of nowhere, they are feeling grief over that. I mean, the assumption is that that Type E has killed before, killed multiple times. Why this time? Well, they specifically say that they have to become friends and lovers and then kill them. Like, they were basically getting close to them to gain their trust and then killing them. And this is something that has driven them to grief. And yes, it's kind of sad to think that that's something that technically 2B is doing over possibly multiple times, at least twice now, having to have taken down 9S. So, it could just be the fact that she had to kill 9S before, and 9S could have actually picked up on that I've been here before and she has killed me here before, and maybe that was why he was reaching out for her. Or yes, it could play into the theory of the reset, that this whole thing that they're doing right now is just one big massive war that at some point the council will do just to reset everything, and then they'll send a new set out there and start the whole process over again, and maybe this 9S that's in those ruins is an example that this has all happened before. Either way, it's really intriguing, the question marks that it creates. Anyhow, that's my thoughts on the first 2 episodes of part 2. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know about the episode. If you are a fan of the game itself, just know that I'm just having fun here. Don't get angry at me for getting things wrong. But I hope you enjoyed it either way. If you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button, scan my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. If you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, or links, membership button below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. Take care.